get started. So to begin with, thank you for being here this evening, and I really hope you get some little nuggets out of tonight's talk about the Life Lift, which is my method that I'm using is what I call the Be, Think, Do method, which is all about flipping how we look and think about changing habits. It's kind of flipping it on its head, because often we'll just start from the doing part because that's what we've just always done. So let's get started. I'm going to just share my screen and guide you through my presentation, and we'll go from there. Okay, go. Just move that across. Cool. Okay, so please feel free to put anything in the comments, any questions you might have, and also there'll be time at the end for any questions you might have. And especially because I want to make sure that this is really applicable to you and something that from today you can make some steps forward to changing your habits to be healthier and for a better quality of life, for a life that you really feel content in. So tonight we're going to go through, after I'll first of all just give you a bit of my background, and for most of you, you already know me, but a little refresher. I've now been in the health and wellbeing industry for 16 years, and what started out as personal training, then I got involved with food. And so from that, it evolved into mind, body, and soul with kindness, and with a particular focus on women's health and helping busy women to be healthier and to live a more balanced life. So that's where I am now. It's all about mind, body, and soul, and with a holistic approach to the whole picture. First thing I want to mention is, I think we should leave these at the door, is shoulds. So let go of the shoulds. Shoulds are like cleaning the house for visitors versus cleaning the house for you. So that's nothing revolutionary, but I just thought it was a different way of viewing it, that you know what it's like when people are coming over and it's the mad panic, and maybe even stuff things in the cupboards just so that everything's tidy and you do the quick clean up. But it really is an external reason for doing it. Whereas when we're cleaning the house for ourselves, we can go slowly, methodically, and room by room and bit by bit. We're really taking care. We know where everything is, we know how it works, and we know what to get rid of. So the methodical process is purely for yourself. And that's what this is about today. So what you'll learn today is what's been setting you up to fail. And that's such an important part, so that we unpack that stuff, because there's no point in piling on more when, hello again, there's no point in piling on more if we don't have a solid foundation. So let's get rid of that stuff, so that then we can set ourselves up for success, which equals sustainable habits. And then thirdly, what's the one thing to change today to get you on track? So, and that's the thing that I really hope that you will get from today, is that you'll be able to action something that you can start in changing your habits for the long term. So then, oh, I went too far. Okay, so just this is so what I call the old way, the way that we typically do things when we want to make a change. So this example is, you do something different, but you keep your old identity of who you kind of believe you are on the inside. So it might be that you go to McDonald's every week and you've decided you're going to do something different, so you order a salad. So you still identify as a McDonald's customer. It's something you haven't let go of, that's kind of, you're more than comfortable going there. but you're having a salad. So you're putting your energy into ordering something different by getting a salad instead of a burger, but you're still surrounded by burgers and fries. And people are eating those things. So it actually takes a lot of energy to make that choice every time that you go there. And that often falls down when you're tired or you're emotional, you're in a rush, or you're overwhelmed because you just don't have that capacity to make that conscious choice. And that's when you can tear your hair out or you feel like, oh gosh, see, I can't stick to anything. So if we flip that, the new way, as I call it, an example of that is that instead of McDonald's, that you do something different that aligns with this new identity that you've chosen, which is what we'll go through today. So, and you instead identify with going to health food shops, and that, or maybe you just make your own food whenever you go somewhere so that you just don't even have to make a choice when you go out. So that way you can put less energy into your choice and there's no fallback or temptation there. So just keep repeating that and that becomes a habit. So if you're in the health food shop and they've got all the different options, it might be a healthy wrap or it's a salad or falafel or something else. Relatively speaking, whatever you choose, whatever the day and whatever your mood, it's still going to be healthier than if you were at McDonald's. It just takes so much less brain power and energy when all the choices are pretty healthy. So what I would recommend is to start by seeing yourself as who you want to be, not your old self, and make the choices based on who you are as that new identity. I'm healthy. I'm moving, I'm active, whatever those things are that are the who you want to be, you come from that place to make those new choices. And stop putting yourself in situations that set you up to fail. And that leads into these things that often set us up to fail. And then we're going to go through what the solutions are for those. So we're going to start off with anchors. So anchors are essentially the process or a formula where we'd say, well, when this, then I do that. So it might be when I'm with my negative friend who always kind of gets me down, I end up eating chips with her. Or when I'm at the footy, I always eat a pie. When I'm in the car's full of old coffee cups, and it just reminds me, oh yeah, I'm going to get a coffee this morning, even though I want to give it up. Or it might be when I go and do grocery shopping, I always go down the chocolate aisle and I think, oh, I shouldn't do that. And I always grab that chocolate bar. Or it might be when I'm watching TV, I always have to just keep my hands busy. So I end up snacking. So then it can even be things like when I'm waiting at the bus stop for the bus, that's when I see the corner shop because I'm always a bit early for the bus. So I pop in and I grab something to eat on the way home from work. So, or when I'm on the bus, I call my friend and she's already at home and she's pouring a glass of wine. So by the time I get home, I want to have a glass of wine too. So they can be things that are regular and that when we do that, then we do the other thing. And it gets really hard to stop that habit because we associate that place or that time or those people with a certain thing that I do or a feeling I feel or a bad habit. It might be even something like, oh, I always bite my nails when I watch a scary show, but I always watch scary shows, so I never stop biting my nails. So lots of different ways. What else it could be? So triggers. So triggers are things that cause a reaction in us. It triggers something. So it might be when somebody criticizes me, it makes me doubt myself, which makes me want to comfort eat. Or when it's a rainy day, it makes me feel down. Therefore, I don't want to get out of bed. When I'm particular mood, whether it's frustrated, angry, sad, just negative emotions, essentially, that can drive us to want to get away from that emotion or to soothe it. And it's often food, but it might be a different behavior. It might be, oh, I turn the TV on and just zone out, or I'm scrolling on my phone because I just don't want to feel this anymore. Or it might be when I have to maybe do a presentation and feel stressed, or I have to work late, I stress eat, or yeah, it could be biting your nails. It could be so many other things, but just these are just there to help you to realize what are some of those connections, because this is more than just, well, I've decided I want to lose 5 kilos, therefore I need to not snack on anything bad. It goes way deeper, because every single thing we do, it has a purpose. And if we don't recognize that, that can be the thing that trips us up and stops us from continuing with this new habit that we want to make a sustainable habit. It could even be something like when I hear that song on the radio in the car, and it reminds me of when my boyfriend broke up with me, and it just takes you down into that deep, dark place, and you want to do anything except feel that. Or it might even make you think of, oh, I want to eat something to forget, or drink, or whatever it is. But those things can be really powerful. And they can be so many different things, and different things to different people. It could be people, places, like I said, negative emotions, memories, TV shows or movies, situations, thoughts, and any of your senses. So it could be a smell, it could be that just wafts through and it smells like fresh cut grass, or it could be something that smells bad that triggers you in some way. Something you see or something you feel. So many triggers out there, and that's the key part, which we'll go through in a moment. Another thing that can set us up to fail is a lack of boundaries. And as women, I think we could probably all put our hand up in some way at some point of this being something that creates an unhealthy pattern, I guess you could say, or an unhealthy habit, because when we have a lack of boundaries, it can mean that then we compensate and reward ourselves and comfort ourselves and self-soothe. For example, spent the whole day at work and you've been rescuing a multitude of people in different ways, helping them out, fixing something for them, saying yes to do something, volunteering or being volunteered to help in some way, things that are not your job. And then it can be, and then you're going to look after elderly parents, and then you're taking kids to sports, and all these other things. It's all external energy going out, so that by the time you get home and you just want to collapse, you compensate and reward yourself for all the good things you did and all the things you did that were actually not your responsibility. So this may be a challenge area for you, that by improving your boundaries, you're essentially holding more of your energy for yourself. And so this is it's a very powerful one. Sometimes there can be a lot of resistance because it can be tied up with our identity. So we'll go through that in a bit more detail soon. And then we've got your old programming and settings, which is essentially, that's your nervous system capacity. So if your old programming and settings is like an old iPhone or computer that was set to survival mode, then that's basically being stuck in fight, flight, freeze, freak out, any of those things. So you're just in survival mode or protective mode and focused on right now, just getting through, just keeping your head above water, staying safe. It's not about thriving. So perhaps if you're in that state of programming, that's why you can't change your habits for very long, because you run out of energy, because basically your system's in energy conserving mode and it's not going to allow you to do much more than what you're already doing. So that's definitely a part that we need to factor in, how to get you out of that survival mode. So let's do a bit of a reset, flip it on its head, and lift your life a bit. Feel a bit more light and to help to see that it's not all doom and gloom. This is actually that we need to acknowledge these things before we can change them. Because if we don't know they're there, well, they're just going to keep repeating. So what sets you up for sustainable habits? So this is awareness. That's where we start, is like, what could actually help you? Because noticing opportunities for improvement and ease and ways of supporting you could actually be right out here right now. It could even be something in the room where you are, or the place where you are right now. It's just that you're not noticing it because your settings have perhaps been focused on frustration. What am I not doing? What am I not being? And it may also be people who are on a similar path or a similar journey or want to make changes like you do, but because you haven't been ready, you haven't noticed. Because it's always nice to be part of a tribe or connecting with people who are like-minded, because there's nothing worse than the opposite, where you're trying to change and everyone around you is wanting to stay the same, and you feel like they're trying to keep you stuck and from moving forward. So secondly, it's about focusing on what you want rather than what you don't want, which it sounds so basic, but it's amazing how we all can sort of fall down with this, of almost like a default sort of setting of it's easy to fall back into, oh, well, but that's not going to happen. That's too hard. Or each way I turn, nothing seems to work out. Well, actually, and I'll give this analogy of, if you're thinking about buying a new car and say you wanted to get a yellow Golf, that you just start noticing yellow Golfs everywhere, which you never noticed before. So whatever you focus on, you'll find. So just switching that setting into focusing on what you want. And then going back to anchors, changing your anchors can be really powerful. Again, that's the process. It's like, when this, I do that. So people, it might be that you love your friend but she's just negative, and she relies on perhaps going out for drinks on a Friday night and having a bit of a moan session. And you've done that because it's something you've bonded over, but you're changing. And it may be a hard conversation, but perhaps that's going to be part of the thing that needs to change, because when you're with her, this is what we do. And if you're going to grow and have healthier habits, that may need to change. And then you've got places. So, and that can even be workplaces, that when you're at work, that you feel like this and therefore you do this. So just starting to notice those things and questioning that. So when that person in the office opens their bag of chips, normally you would hear that noise and then go, oh yeah, I think I'm hungry. Or when that woman who bakes the amazing cakes and she comes in and brings the cake, and you're just thinking, oh, I don't want to have it, but I know I need to because otherwise I'm being seen as rude. Just starting to notice that, even that self-talk of like, but if I'm coming from a good place, like, it's nothing against her, I just choose not to have it. There's no reason for me to feel bad. Just clocking yourself when you're noticing the self-talk around that's keeping you stuck in that cycle. So then also then going back to triggers, which triggers are the things that cause a reaction in you, which then creates a behavior. So looking to avoid or resolving those triggers is such a big part of this. So starting to see them for what they really are and for what they really mean. Because say, for instance, someone criticizes you and then it hits you hard, and it's kind of like a stab in the heart, and then you feel bad. So then you want to self-soothe. If you just bring it back to someone criticizes me, what if it's not criticism? What if it's constructive feedback? Or what if it's actually to do with them? It's actually not to do with you. Then you can start to remove that trigger, that it's not really about you, it's about the other person. And then you can start to just stop that cascade of events happening. And then 5 is boundaries. So by improving your boundaries, it reduces the need for the compensation and reward and comfort and soothing. So yes, it's about things like saying no and speaking honestly and delegating. And maybe it's other things too, things that speak to you, things that when I say, how could you improve your boundaries? And something comes up and you think, yeah, I know what I need to do. So I love this quote by Dr. Rebecca Ray, an Australian psychologist. Her book, Setting Boundaries, is fantastic. That's where this comes from, where she says, boundaries are the kindest and most helpful form of communication you can offer to another person. This is because you're giving them direct instructions about your needs and limits rather than expecting them to be a mind reader. I think that comes from that place of kindness and understanding, because as women, we don't want to hurt other people and we want to help them. So if we think of setting boundaries as being helpful, then perhaps that helps to lessen the resistance on creating those boundaries. Oh, and if you've got those boundaries, you don't need the comfort food. And you don't need to like veg out on the sofa or doom scroll as much. It helps so many things. It's incredible how much of a ripple effect it can create by creating healthy boundaries. And then your new programming and settings, doing that upgrade, if you want to call it that, of your nervous system capacity, that allows for so much more acceptance of what you deserve, and it helps with being less reactive and more responsive, so that you're interacting with people and you're being all the things that you want to be, but you just never knew how to do it, and you probably didn't even realize that up until now you've been stuck in flight or fight or that freak out mode, that it's when you're in that, nothing else exists. That's something that I help a lot of my clients with, because it can run pretty deep and it can have been there for some people their whole lives. But even just doing some little vagal nerve exercises and drills, like little ear pulls, rubbing across your forehead, the vagal lift technique, which you'll find on my Facebook posts and on my YouTube channel. There are so many ways that it helps to calm your stress and your nervous system. And also breath work and meditation can be amazing too. So why I'm mentioning that is that is to tie in why we do the things we do. So some people might say, oh, breath work, it doesn't do anything. I tried it. Or I tried meditation, but my mind goes all over the place. These things take practice, and the more you practice, the more you get better at it, and the more it starts to land. So if you've dabbled in those things, I would just encourage you to please persist. Oh, and I also wanted to mention the thing of noticing your self-talk and flip it into the positive. So an example of this is from the book Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. And in one of the first couple of chapters, he mentions about in our head, we have this voice, which is like a flatmate. And if we imagine that flatmate living with us physically in our flat, that the way that they talk to us, we wouldn't tolerate that for more than a couple of hours, let alone 24 hours. We would just kick them out. So notice your own self-talk and try flipping it to the positive, but I'd like to actually just do something on this right now. So I'd like you to close your eyes and say your name just kind of in your normal voice, normal volume. Just say your name in your head. Okay, and just take a nice deep breath. And now I'd like you to repeat your name again in your head, this time really loud. Okay, I'm going to do one more. So I'd like you to repeat your name in your head, this time saying it really softly. Okay, and then when you've finished, you can open your eyes. Okay, so did you notice that you could change the volume? So you can change the voice in your head. Yeah, you do have the controls for it, which is kind of cool. So yes, you can change it. Okay, so then we've got, this is the last point. So pinpoint one thing in your daily routine to change. And then I'd love you to do it daily for 2 weeks and then review how you're doing. And then if you're ready for more, then you can change or tweak something else. But the goal is that it's so small that you'll be wanting to do more and only add something when you are ready, because this is about being minimalist in making these changes, and that other it creates a ripple effect essentially. So in order to pinpoint that part of your day, I just wanted to share this reactive cycle versus proactive cycle of mine. So when we look at the left, this is the cycle we want to move away from. But it's a pretty typical one. I know a lot of women I've met over the years have done this, where they wake up late, skip breakfast, have a quick coffee, bought lunch at their desk while they're working, a 3 p.m. coffee and chocolate pick-me-up. Then they get home and eat dinner while watching TV. Then there'll be a sweet snack while they're watching TV, go to bed. I have missed off of here some doom scrolling on their phone. And then they have restless sleep through the night, which then means that they wake up late in the morning, and it just keeps going. So then what we want to do is then shift over to the right-hand side to the more proactive cycle, where now this is where you could change one thing in here, but as you'll see, everything is different on here. So wake early, have a nourishing breakfast, healthy snack, homemade lunch away from the desk, a 3 p.m. nut and fruit snack, eating dinner mindfully at the table, no evening snack, go to bed, and they have a restorative sleep, and they have more energy through their day. So it might have been just one thing in there that they've changed, but then it creates change throughout the rest of the day, the rest of the choices. So then I would love you to write down your typical day, or maybe it might be your problematic day. So for me, it's Wednesdays for me. I have a really busy day and I work completely over my lunch time. And if I don't have something at about 11, I'm not going to eat again till 3. And if I don't eat again till 3, it stuffs me up for the afternoon dinner, all that sort of thing. So I find that's really important. So yeah, you might write down either a normal day or a problematic day for you from when you wake up, the whole 24-hour period, and then write down, well, notice what's one thing that you could change that would help the rest of your day. And I'll give you a couple of minutes on that. The thumbs up if you're done. Cool. Okay, you can always come back to it, but I will also, if you want, I can send out a PDF of this presentation too, if you want, for prompts, if that helps. Okay. Okay. Okay, so somehow I flipped through a few too many there. Okay, right. So yes. Oh, okay, yes, the comparison slide. Sorry, yes. Do you want me to flip back? There you go. Yep. Yep, yep. How about you, Nat? Was there anything in particular?
The change, yeah. So I've actually got
Yeah.
two, but I'll start with one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's eating dinner while watching TV. That is a habit that my husband and I do together.
Yes.
And I think it's because I don't really give myself permission to watch TV until we're about to have dinner, and then it just kind of spills out to the
Ah,
rest of the evening. So I'm kind of hanging out for a break, and because I like to watch comedies, and that's how I, part of how I de-stress. So I'm kind of hanging out for it.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, good, I've heated up food. Now I can watch a bit of comedy TV. I
Yeah,
think, yeah,
yes.
that's the habit.
Ah, okay. Oh,
Mm,
and interesting aside with that too is that like comedy, fine, but
mm.
a lot of people who watch drama and news, even
Oh,
stressful things while
mm.
you're eating actually deactivates your digestive process too. So
Oh, wow, there you go.
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm.
So that's something you don't really want to pair together because, like, hands up, who of us grew up watching the news while you're having dinner?
Oh,
Like, I
absolutely.
mean,
And
we
breakfast.
yes, yes. It's like bookend the day with it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Nat.
Mine was about waking up early. Like
Ah,
I need to not snooze the alarm because some of
yes,
that other stuff in the middle I'm actually doing because I've been
yes,
working on this up to now. So this is sort of, yeah, it's a process. So that was, yeah, it's the
yeah.
snoozing of the alarm. It's either put the alarm on for later when you actually are going to get up.
Yes.
So don't pretend that you're going to get up at 6 o'clock or whatever when you know that you're not going to get up till 7 or whatever time.
Yeah,
I think
yes.
I'm just thinking through what's the small change that I can make. I think
Mm,
it's actually around being realistic about what time I will and what time I need to get up as well.
yes. Well, and because what would that do for you by you either sleeping longer or getting up and having a bit more time?
I'd get more sleep because I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
So I'm up late anyway, and that's that's
Yes.
because that's when I get my personal time.
Yeah, yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, and I don't want to go to bed because I'm still having my personal time.
Yeah. It is so common. I can't believe, like, just in the last few years, how many women I've heard who do that. Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
And it's, well, another tie-in with that is how babies and kids that if they don't get enough time with whatever parent in the evening, that's often why they act up because they haven't had the required time that they are normally used to with their parents. Yeah, it's interesting how that works. Yeah, cool. Thank you. That's excellent to hear. All right, then we're going to go on to, come on, whoop, yes, doing some funny things. Okay. All right, so this one. So we're going to look at the old way and the new way of doing things. So if we look down the left side, the old way is, okay, let's do something differently. Like that might be, I want to lose 5 kilos, something like that. In order to, when I say think differently, is like to feel better, think better of myself, believe in myself more in order to be different to what I am now. So it's do the thing, then I will think differently and therefore I will be a different person. That's kind of our standard way of doing things. And we've practiced it many times. So if you look along the bottom, that's where I've just says I do X because I think X and because I am X. So, and under that is if the do part is the worker. And then because I think that's the strategist. And then because I am a whatever, that's the CEO. So we're kind of coming from a place where the worker is trying to make the change. But like in any organization, a worker trying to change the organization, it's not really going to work. So I'm going to use this example because putting the X's in there makes it a bit hard to comprehend. So I've got here, I procrastinate because I am overwhelmed and don't have energy or time, because I am a helper, people pleaser, or it might be I'm a perfectionist. So that can be how that plays out as one example. But then if we look at the new way, where it's I am being different, I am a different person, therefore I think differently, I believe different things, I value different things, and therefore I do different things. So in that example, it's the CEO is in charge and then gets the strategist to do the strategy, and then the workers just do the stuff. So that is an example of being, I am a healthy, busy, confident woman. Therefore, I prioritize time for me. I'm loyal to my friends. I value family, health, and respect. Therefore, I plan a lot and I have a balanced daily routine. So coming from the top down, just thinking about how that might help you. Because the doing, it's easy to make a decision about what I'm going to do, but then how much difference does that actually make to who I am? So I think if we spend a bit more time on thinking about who I want to be, what sort of person, that can help to change what we decide to do in our actions. So let's put it into practice. So I'm going to give an example, but then the takeaway from this is going to be then where you can fill this in. And it's not something you have to do today, but as long as one of these exercises lands with you and that you've got something you can get your head around and start doing from tomorrow, would be amazing. So if we start at the top and we want to follow the feeling. So what do I want to feel? So it might be lighter, energetic, confident, organized, in control, so many things. They're just some examples. And in order to feel this, I need to be somebody. So who am I? I am perhaps a role model for your kids, or for your family, or for your friends even. I am strong, healthy, content, proud. Could be what you are. Like, I am a professional woman who people respect and look up to. I'm a wife and mother. And then from there is being those things. So I value, I prioritize, I believe, I choose, I feel better, or I feel my best when, well, that one classic, I feel best when I'm active, eating well, I'm keeping my promises to myself and others, those sorts of things. What do you choose? You choose to make time for you. You believe you're good enough, that you are worthy because you know who you are. And you prioritize your healthy habits and you value your health. Maybe respect lots of other things. Could be I value family, and that because I value family, I want to be around to look after them and to be that North Star for them. And then after what you believe and what all that stuff that goes on in your mind, then it's what do I do? So I do this by having a daily routine, making uncomfortable choices, having strong boundaries, planning, all those things. So it breaks it down, but just in reverse order to what most people do. And so this is tying in that one small change from your proactive cycle that you can put in there. And so you'll make that change because, and tying it into who you are, what you believe and what you value, and then what you do. And the result of that is because of all of that, that you feel that way you want to feel, which might be more energy, to feel stronger, feel more in control. So I do find that with women, a lot of the time it is that sense of feeling in control of their own health. And I'd love to know how that ties in for you. Elizabeth?
I'm
Yeah.
struggling with this one a bit more.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
I think this one's a bit more, I'm struggling with what I want to feel. I
Okay.
think I can do what I want to be.
Yeah.
It's the feeling coming before that. That's, so I want, it's around, I can come across, I can work out that, I want to be confident, I want to be
Yeah.
those things, but it's how do I want to feel? So that's the one that I'm a bit stuck on.
Okay. So if you want to, did you say I want to be more confident? Did you?
Or
No,
I am
I am
confident, or
confident.
I'm in
Yes.
control,
Yeah.
or I'm dictating
Yeah.
my own life, sort of thing. That kind of
Yes.
concept,
Yeah.
that I'm in
Yeah.
control of my own life. I think that's probably what it is. That
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I agree. Yes. And sometimes the feel part might not be necessary. Sometimes that one is just a bit of a bonus or a way of checking in with are all those other things aligned? Yeah.
Okay, and I think if I do it from that way, and then so I prioritize making decisions, and that prioritize myself and things like that, and I do so, and because of this, I feel happier or more confident or successful, or so I can get the feel at the end. I think
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. No, then that's great. Yes. It's and the reason I put it at the beginning on the previous slide was because I often get clients who initially will say, I want to feel lighter, I want to feel more energy, blah, blah, blah. So then from that, then we can decipher the rest. It really depends on where you're coming from. If you already know what I want to be or what I am, then we've already got that. So that's great. Thank you. Excellent. And Nat, yes, you're saying that the old way of do
That
think
makes sense. I don't know if I worded that right, but I just thought the language was really interesting. Like that old way of do, think, be, you're saying I do X because. So it's like you're explaining yourself. Whereas the other way is like, seems like you're more in flow because it's like I am, and then everything just kind of flows on from there. Like that really, that was interesting.
Yes. Yeah, because it is almost like justifying yourself, going, oh, I do that because, yeah. Yeah.
It's almost, it reminds me a bit like at work of having a mission statement or a vision. you know, so if you're trying to do, you know, your job spec or your KPIs, if you know what the vision is, it's much easier than working it back the other way. I know that's a work example, but it's, you know, like I can see how that works. You know, I am, you know, and then all these things fit in.
Yes.
Well, and I think because of that, it becomes like a bit of a North Star for yourself. So when you're feeling tired and you just want to go to the pantry, it's like, no, I am. You know, it's not me anymore.
Remember, I am.
Yes.
And the voice in your head's allowed to say that.
And in my pantry is like, remember, I am short and the biscuits are up too high. Yep. Yes, but that's great. Thank you. That's brilliant. Appreciate that. Okay, so then oh, yeah, it skipped a number of slides again. Cool. So then from there, we've got I'm obviously clicking something that I shouldn't click. Oh, here we go. It's because I'm doing the bottom bar. Let's see if it will let me go back one at a time. There we go. Okay. Ooh. One more, please. No. Oh, I've got to move this. Got all your faces right there. Cool. Right. So 2 weeks, just focus on consistently doing that one thing every day. That's what we want. So whatever that thing is that you've written down, and see how that feels. Knowing all the things you know now, who you are, how you think, and then what you need to do. So that is essentially my framework there for today. And I hope that helps with lots of little bits and pieces that you can put together to help with how your habits are a product of all those different things that are going on in your life that you don't even think about. And that's why I created this Life Lift program, 6-week program, as a container for us to spend time going through all these things that create our programming for why we do the habits that we do, and how to unpack them, how to change them, and doing it in a way that's not overwhelming. It's actually easy. And not only is it easy, but it feels right. And it doesn't feel like you're pushing through just to get the job done. So the program is specifically for midlife women, because I know what that's like being 53, and all the diets and the exercise programs and all of that just being embedded in us, and that's that it needs to be hard. Well, it doesn't have to be hard. So with the program, I've designed it so there's a weekly email and video that goes out. The video is literally 5 minutes, so it's not going to be a big amount of time, a time investment. We have a weekly Zoom call with Q&A in that, and within that is where we do the work, because I know that time is precious, so you don't have to do homework as such. There'll be access to my membership portal, which will have all my resources in there, my recipes and food plans and meditations and exercise programs, all sorts of things in there. And then there's the private Facebook community, which will have some challenges in there just for those who would like to have a little bit of direction. But it's also a place to share your wins and helping each other out. There'll be direct access to me for the questions and guidance along the way. And that starts in just under 2 weeks' time, and it's only $450. So it's such a wealth of information, but in bite-sized chunks. So if you are interested, please let me know. I will also send the link with the replay tomorrow to join up if you are interested. And that's essentially all the information. So now is the time, if you'd like to ask any questions, be more than happy to answer them. Now, Elizabeth, if you want to go, yeah.
I was just going to say, I think I need to work on the I am statement.
Uh-huh.
and that's a bit of a self-reflection, which is good because I'm joining that
Yes, the
so
program.
I've now
Yes.
got like 2 weeks to actually think about what is what is it that I want to be, because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of because some of it I'm actually quite comfortable with. So you get to this age and there is a certain element of you do know who you are.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. That is very true. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what I want to focus on a bit to start with.
Yes. Well, and I think this is great, like you say, planting the seed and setting your intention and then just paying attention. Um, and it's amazing what comes to you. The inspiration comes to
Yeah.
you in the most unlikely moments, which is great. And I love how it's things like, and I know Nat will relate to this too, of the random conversations or the things that happen within a week, and that different people will say things to you and you'll just take it on board like, yes, 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 that's me. Yeah, that's what I needed. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that'll be great. Oh no, that's, and
Cool.
also because Elizabeth, there's I don't know if you've done that questionnaire yet. There's a quiz. I'll check that it's been sent to you. But that can
Sorry.
help as well. Yes, I'll make a note.
I am competent in technology. Is one of the...
Okay, no, I'll
Oh, for
send
goodness
that to
sake, I'm
you.
hopeless.
That could be me. Hey, I sent out the
Oh,
congratulations, you've joined to hundreds of people. So yeah, that's fine.
I hoped it prompted them to say, oh, okay.
It's so funny.
Oh.
I'm all right with not being good at certain things. It's fine. Yes. Anyway,
And nice to
and
meet you, Natalie.
You too,
yeah,
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
and Nat, for you, yes, how did you find that process?
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting, and I think it's yeah, it's definitely a much better way to frame your goals, even like, because otherwise it's, yeah, so reactive, as opposed to seeing it from a proactive lens. And yeah, sort of it was interesting, when you were talking about it, it is really your identity. And that's why making the change as an action before changing the identity kind of feels like a risk. Like it feels like it's something that doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? Like that's what was coming up for me. So whereas changing the identity first is like, okay, everything else is just a new way of operating, as opposed to trying to change something under an old paradigm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Like,
Yeah.
because if you look at it in the negative of being, oh, I am a people pleaser, I am
Yeah.
lazy, I always fail,
Mm.
I never really ever change. Like, well, that's a belief. But yeah,
Yeah.
when you're flagging those things, you can realize, yeah, you can do as much as you want, but you're kind of not really getting anywhere, or not for the long
Mm.
term. Mm.
Exactly. Yeah, it's not sustainable. So that's going to be interesting to reflect on, and then chat with you about, yeah, like what
Yeah.
exactly, kind of similar to what Elizabeth said. What is that I am?
Yes.
And how do
Well,
I
and that can be a bit of one of those stretch exercises, because
mm.
uh, when you've not ever given that a lot of time,
Mm.
to what am I? And
Yeah.
oh gosh, and I remember doing NLP training where it was in Masterprac, I think, where it was, what am I? I am a health coach, I am a woman, I
Mm.
am blah, blah, blah. And then when you start to dissect that and going, yeah, but what am I? Oh my goodness,
Mm.
it just blows your mind, because it's like, I'm not really a person, because I'm just made of
Mm.
atoms, and like, well,
Yeah.
and then I'm just vibration. Yeah.
It's very
It can really blow
I'm
profound.
a
your mind.
figment of my own imagination. Yes.
Yes, yes. Okay, then right. So we've blown that out. Now let's rebuild.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. And is it okay? Is it safe to be anything that I want? And like with affirmations, that
Yeah.
if affirmations don't really land and feel like I'm just making stuff up and I'm repeating it a lot, but it doesn't make any difference,
Mm.
that we don't want it to be like that. We want it
Yeah.
to feel real and aspirational and realistic. Yeah, all of
And I
those
like the idea of
things.
doing small little bits. I think that
Mm.
just make it small so that it's almost like you can't help but do it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
because it's just, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for me, like the last week and a half has been the decision to get up at 5 every weekday morning, because every day I'd get up at a different time. It would range from getting up at 5:15 to 6 o'clock would be the latest I'd get up. And then I just made the decision, I need routine. So I'm going to get up at 5 every day, no matter what time my clients are. And I'll do my training then, or my stretches and those things. And it has been so easy, it's ridiculous. Like, because it's not, for me, that's not that too far away from what I was doing before anyway. So it'd be like someone who normally gets up at 7 gets up at 6:15 or 6. It's not that much of a stretch. And I've been waking up just before my alarm, and I've been feeling really good. I'm thinking, wow, well, what can I do next? Like, but this is enough of a change for me for quite a while. But to have that feeling is so nice, rather than think, right, so then what's the result's going to be from this? And what is that going to justify why I'm doing this? It's not about that at all. Yeah.
And the other comment I was just going to make is that the who am I, that's the challenging part about that, is that I have been whatever I am at the moment for so long, and other people expect me to be that. So it's that external pressure to continue to, because they don't want you to change.
Yes, interesting. Yeah.
That's something I'm going to have to deal with, is that other people like me being like I am because it suits them.
Yes. And I would also challenge that a little bit with, are you making that assumption in some way? Like,
in some cases, no.
No. Okay.
Because I push back, and they're like, but hold on, that's what, like, you're
yeah. So I have one
you're
other.
the organizer, or you're the,
Yes. Wow. But what if it's that by you doing that, it's taking away their opportunity to, and this is me being, cheeky, their opportunity to grow. But I know.
Yeah, I don't think my
context.
brothers are going to grow at this age.
Okay.
But I have actually pushed back. So that
Good.
came from an example where I actually pushed back, and it took me a few goes. And in fact, the last time, because it's about feeding, so I'm the one who always provides. And I just said, no, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, you're grown adults, you can. And the last time they actually turned up with food.
Hey, there you go.
There you go.
If you can do it with your brothers, gosh, you could do that with anyone. Probably.
I don't know how long it'll last, but
Yeah, true.
But yeah, you can do it. So, but I think that I was really conscious that it was actually, how they perceived me, or what I was in that group, because everyone plays a role in, in the groups that you have.
Exactly. That's in family. We grow up with roles to play, and then we just play them through our lifetimes, don't we? I have
Anyway.
And something else I'll stick into our program too is to ask 5 friends, what are your top 5 traits or characteristics? So I had a client ask me this years ago, and for him, I said I was like curious, playful, I can't remember, adventurous. Yes, it was 3 things. Yeah. And he said his therapist asked him to ask his friends that, which I think is a really interesting reflection on how people view you.
We did that years ago at work, where we actually had to but how they did it was they had a page, like an A4 page with descriptors. Like,
okay, right.
So basically what you did, you gave it to 5 people, and they just marked off which ones they saw you as, and then you collated it to see which ones. And that was the most surprising thing I've ever done.
Yes.
Yep. Same. We did it at work a number of years ago, and it was also interesting how different people chose different things. So ours was like a list of words, and then some people chose confident, some people chose underconfident. And it's like, so depending who I was speaking to, depending which team, like different people had these different perceptions of me, because I would alter the way that I showed up based on my comfort in that space, if that made sense. So yeah, that was confronting.
Yeah, that is
I might
really
have to see if I can find a list, because I think that's the easiest way, really. I mean, they can come up with it, but it's a bit boring
and it
if
might take it might take a while. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that
I
would be
like that
great.
idea.
Yes, cool. So I think that would be interesting too,
What was
because
it? What was the question? What are the 5?
I think it was like traits or how would you describe, I suppose? How would you describe what words?
Yeah. Thank you.
List of descriptive. Yeah. Yeah, I think that could be very interesting. Cool. All right. Well, I will leave you all to it. Thank you so much for participating tonight. Yes, I will send you the recordings as well. And any questions, just